Welcome to the Industry 4.0 podcast with Grantek.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Industry 4.0 podcast with Grantek. Industry 4.0 podcast with Grantek gives a look into the world of manufacturing with a focus on stories and trends for better solutions. Our guests share tips and outcomes that will help improve your productivity. I'm Dave McKenna from Grantek, Smart Packaging Leader, and I'm joined today by Angela Morris. Angela is head of global IT manufacturing capabilities at a little company you may eat their products known as the Kraft Heinz Company. Angela is a driver of strategy and vision, a passionate promoter of operational excellence, and a classically trained musician with a love of gardening, student of culture, and active in community engagement and service. Today, Angela is accountable for strategic planning to drive digital automation and integration in her current role at Kraft Heinz. Angela recently worked for Lubrizol, Berkshire Hathaway Company's Director of Manufacturing Automation. Prior to Lubrizol, she was Global Improvement Lead at Dow Chemical, another household name, directing global MES organization and leading digital transformation efforts across global and horizontal functions to bring IT, finally bridge that gap between IT and OT. Angela delivered a portfolio of innovation deployment, M&A efforts while supporting 400 plants, global organization of architects, project managers, engineers, application developers helped make this a success and one of the largest mergers in U.S. history. While at Dow, she was also on the international board of directors for Mesa. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to talk with you today about Industry 4.0.
I got two kind of comments just up first. Thank you for your work at Kraft Heinz. They are keeping my children alive. The all meat is chicken, but chicken sometimes they won't eat it. But ketchup is a very, very powerful condiment with children and ensuring they actually eat something and don't go to bed hungry every night. So thank you for the Kraft Heinz work that hits home. And the other one to add, some people are ambitious. So a lot of you got a big career. You've done a lot of stuff, been in a high up leadership position at a lot of companies. Just curious, before we start into Industry 4.0, how did you get started? What's kind of the story of your career and why high up IT in manufacturing?
Sure. So just a little background. Started my career with an IT background and joined Dow Chemical and spent many, many years at Dow Chemical. Also did some short stints at some other firms where, it culminated in what I do today in terms of working in the manufacturing space, in the supply chain space. As I grew in Dow, I had a lot of exposure to some great people, and it culminated again in what I love to do. It's a passion. I think manufacturing is a passion. You have it or you don't, and for me, it's something that I carry forward with me throughout my career. So that's a little bit of background on me.
I'll agree to that, and like I've kind of shared that as well. It's always been an amazing part of my career in manufacturing that you're doing this to make stuff. There's things that weren't there before. You had that silo of flour or whatever it was, or some plastic bits or metal or I don't know, whatever you're making. You had those inputs come in and that was really nothing. And then you got real stuff flying out the door that people need and consume and keeps the world full of stuff. And some people, I know it's not as you could go work at a company like Google or something like that, but they don't really make things. It's just ones and zeros floating around. There is for many of us, it appeals the real nature of manufacturing. Agree. First question, kind of something we like to ask everybody on the show. What does Industry 4.0 mean to you? It's a broad term, gets thrown around perhaps too much at times for all encompassing. What is it for you?
Fundamentally, for me, it is a cultural paradigm. Without sounding too cliche, it really means that we have to embrace change. We have to evolve over time, and that happens through intentional and purposeful disruption. And oftentimes, disruption, the word, is used in a negative connotation. But in the way that we use it in Industry 4.0, it really means challenging the way that we've been thinking, looking at the art of the impossible, even dipping our toes in the art of the impossible to really challenge ourselves and test ourselves on what does the future look like? What does the North Star look like? And so it's about putting the persona in the middle of the ecosystem and enabling that person to have the data, which of course we've heard the DIKM, that data needs to turn into information, that information turns into knowledge, and from there we have the institutional knowledge and wisdom that we need to run in a near real time or a real time environment to be operationally efficient. So in a nutshell, that's how I think of digital transformation in
I
Industry
like it.
4.0.
I like it that there's a lot of talk about data, but data for what? Well, data for information, but information for what? I like your definition, information, so we can empower someone. And I like that this is intentional and purposeful, because there's a lot of you do need to companies do need to make a real decision and then move with intent to adopt any of this. Otherwise, yeah, maybe you could check a box that you put something in, but is it really doing anything? Well, at the same time, yes, this is a gigantic, well, can be, if you're intentional and you go actually move enough to put enough effort in to move the needle on anything, then yes, this is a large change management piece, and it doesn't have to be that negative one. So great definition. I think
Right.
a lot of the key touch points. We are going to do something fun before I get to a little more of a serious question. We like to ask artificial intelligence, as this is, for their sense of humor, for riddles and some challenge, and we'll see how good this one is today. But what is black when you buy it, red when you use it, and gray when you throw it away?
I've thought about hair color in this context, but that's obviously not the answer. Um, I would venture to say that the answer is
Charcoal.
coal,
Could be hair
charcoal,
color for some.
something
I
to.
think that's a more fun answer. And take that, AI. You didn't come up with the best answer, but charcoal is what the computer came up with. But I think I would have taken hair color. I think that's a better one. The human element makes a better answer. You heard it here on the Industry 4.0 podcast. Getting to kind of to a little more serious side. So what kind of impact are you seeing from digitization? It's digitalization. There's lots of talk about it and digitalizing companies. And where do you see the impact of this, and what's this really doing, and how has the impact kind of come over time?
You know, digitalization, whether you call it that or not, has really, in my mind, been around for 30 plus years. It's more mature in some industries, but when you think back all that long ago, where we started working with computers and introducing automation, control systems. There are companies out there who built proprietary control systems to run their plant, and then time passed and we realized that that's giving us bits and bytes of information that if we look at it in context or look at it in patterns and trends, it gives us more information. And so then we had the introduction of MES systems, and then we grew from there to have vertical integration and horizontal integration, to where we started looking at disparate types of data in context. And so, for me, the impact of digital transformation is a continued evolution of movement forward. And to that end, this movement that we're seeing allows us to communicate between the shop floor and the top floor, meaning the ERP. And so today we're taking the next step with information, we're contextualizing it, and we're putting it in the hands of our operators and enabling them and empowering them to be decision
And you think
makers.
so? I mean, I can echo and agree. Stuff's been PLCs are from 80s.